Hello, I'm Donald Leggett, and welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Leo Koot, who, as you may well know, is the Executive Chairman at Columbus Energy. He's with me today to explain the rationale behind CERP's surprise merger announcement with Bahamas Petroleum. Welcome, Leo.
Hello, Donald. Good to see you again.
It's lovely to see you. Lovely to have you on London South East. Now, when we spoke a month ago, you couldn't have been happier. You were happy with the saffron find, the opportunities for Columbus and Suriname. So what's changed since then?
Well, I'm good in keeping it a secret, am I?
You are. I would not play poker with you.
Because we were in deep negotiations then already. So what happened since then is we've completed our due diligence. We got to terms with Bahamas, and now we've got a deal on the table, which I hope to be able to explain to you today.
Okay, you're happy with this deal. I'm not so sure your shareholders are so happy. So explain to me what the benefits of this merger are as you see them.
That's a very, very big question. What it does, I believe it's a very clever deal, which allows us to weather the COVID storm whilst creating value for our shareholders and Bahamas shareholders. So I do believe this is a very clever, intelligent deal, and the fact that no one's seen this coming in the market speaks to that.
So was the fundamental problem that in this difficult environment, you didn't have the financial firepower to get you through to the other side, to get the saffron deal, the saffron drilled and executed?
Well, as you know, we've got a very exciting portfolio within Columbus. That portfolio needs cash, and we can go it alone and go slow, and would have been very slow. Where in this environment of low oil prices, your free cash is obviously reduced. So that whole story of delivering to our shareholders within the 5-year strategy, which we promised, and in this present low oil environment, we balanced a lot of opportunities, and we believe that this is the best one to do, and that's why we did it.
Okay, I hear what you say. So why was 25 million in paper the best deal that was achievable in the circumstances?
Because I don't want to make decisions for my shareholders to accept cash or shares. Once they've got shares or converted their Columbus shares into Bahamas shares, then it's up to them to trade in or out. If we would have taken cash, we would have locked in the present market caps and the present positions, and not giving our shareholders the opportunity to make a decision for themselves. That's one point. The other point, it's equally important, is that it's best to preserve cash for the business and to grow the business with that cash, rather than handing it out and effectively saying, I'm giving up, because that's the last thing we're going to do.
Okay, but why did you go for Bahamas Petroleum? They've got one big asset ready to drill, sufficient funds to drill that, but it is full of risk because it may be a duster, and statistically, so many wells are dusters. So over to you.
Yeah. So I have done a lot of due diligence on this. I've been trawling the data rooms. I've been looking at seismic. I've been looking at offset wells. I've been looking at the basin, the region, and here is what I see, is that they've got great seismic because it's shot offshore. So they've done the best seismic interpretation. That seismic interpretation showed massive structures, not one structure, but multiple structures. The structure which we're going to be drilling is 90 kilometers long. 90 kilometers long. So that's nearly as large as all of the south of Trinidad, not just the southwest peninsula of Trinidad. It's the whole region. So it's massive. What I see in offset wells is that there is hydrocarbons in the system. They've seen shows of gas and oil. Mm-hmm. And also from the offset wells, you can see that there is reservoirs. They had massive drilling fluid losses on some or most of the wells they drilled in that area. So that tells me There's hydrocarbons and there's reservoirs. So then the only thing you're missing is traps. And if you look at those seismic structures, there are traps all over the place. There is anhydrites, there is some shale layers. So this feels to me like saffron did before we drilled. Columbus drilled saffron. With the only difference is that the pre-drill reserve estimates on saffron was 11 million, and this is 700 million. So this is a complete different ballgame, and this brings the combined business, or certainly gives Columbus shareholders the opportunity to be part of something very, very much bigger.
But they may feel that they didn't choose this. They didn't choose this level of risk. So what should advise to them? I've definitely seen that on the chat boards yesterday.
Yeah, and that's happy to challenge that. And I would like to go back to our Columbus strategy. So what we set out 3 years ago, what are we going to do with Columbus? We said we're going to be cleaning up the production assets, which we did. We're going to be venturing into a new area in South America, where we went into Suriname. And we're going to be de-risking the exploration in the Southwest Peninsula, which we did with saffron. So I believe we certainly have a track record of delivering on our promises, and understanding the exploration risks. So I would like to think that our shareholders with me are going to be equally enthusiastic about the Perseverance well in Bahama as they were about the saffron well, because saffron well is the first exploration well to be drilled in the Southwest Peninsula. The Perseverance well, I believe, is just the first well which is going to be drilled in the Bahamas Basin. So there's a lot of analogs. It's just the scale and the size of the opportunity is so tantalizing that it justifies the present risk profile.
I think the tricky thing is that people bought into you, Leo, as the front face of Columbus, and you've promised them a 5-year exit, and I think it's just completely left-sided them. It's left them a little bit shocked, to be honest.
Yeah.
They thought they were so loyal to you, very unusually loyal, because you know what the same world is. But they bought into you, they fought your corner, and now you're selling them a new strategy. So,
and you call it the new strategy. First of all, I'm flattered.
Oh, come on! It is a new strategy.
Well, first of all, I'm honored and flattered about the loyalty, and
you should be,
and that's mutual. I will never do a runner and look after my own interests only. The good thing, however, is that we are aligned, the existing Columbus shareholders and I, in terms of value and value generation. I probably end up around 1% of the merged entity, which is a lot of my personal capital and wealth tied up into Columbus and the new business. So that's number one. The next step is that I'm going to be part of the new board and be involved in several board committees. And I'm also going to be a senior advisor to the board, looking after the Southwest Peninsula interest and growing the business in Trinidad. So that is, I'm still in the business. I'm not going away.
How do you feel about not being in charge, Leo? You're pretty much a being in charge kind of guy.
I've got a lot of skills. I've got also very strong influencing skills and convincing people of what the right thing to do is, and I think I can use those skills within the Bahamas board to make sure that capital is allocated the right way for the combined business, because from now on we need to move away from them and us. It's now we Bahamas are going to do a great job in delivering value for our shareholders.
There's only so much money to go around, though, and you now have multiple projects, very, very, very good projects. You've got 2 very good projects to run at, but only so much cash to go around. How does cash get allocated?
Well, that's an issue every oil company in the world struggles with, and that's purely done on the merits of the economics and returns. And I don't believe there is a big competition between the different projects because they're of a different size and different scale. Whether we decide to spend $500,000 on the Southwest Peninsula and get more oil production and get payback within 2 or 3 months doesn't interfere with spending close to $25 million in the Bahamas. They're just not in the way. They're different pots of money. So I don't see that as an issue. I'd like to emphasize, though, is that I believe that, I'm committed and convinced that we need to drill that well in the Bahamas. That is going to be the turning point for our shareholders, and that's how we can promise to get into $500 million market cap.
It sounds very interesting, but the Bahamas Perseverance well sounds very interesting. Will the Bahamas well require a farm-in, perhaps, given that it's a very big project?
Possibly. I think eventually big oil is going to develop this because of the size and scale. If you look at what's happened in Guyana recently, where there's big discoveries offshore, this is the next high impact well in the world. So I want to be part of this. I'm really enthusiastic.
Okay. What about the board? Are the board behind this deal, and what's their take on this? What's their perspective on what's been happening?
So, as you can read from the RNS, the board is unanimous in supporting this deal. They share my enthusiasm, and it's probably worthwhile because I know you and Tony have got an interview early next week.
That's right. I'm interviewing Tony Hawkins, CEO of Columbus, on Tuesday, so that'll be out on the Wednesday morning.
So I'd like you to repeat that question to him because he's a completely independent, has got an independent view, and I would like you to hear his view as well.
There's a feeling among shareholders that I've been reading on both sets of bulletin boards that this deal benefits the boards, but it may not benefit the shareholders quite so much. So is that a fair point? What's your response to that?
I'm not sure if I understand the position. Because
they don't see that your interests are aligned.
They know that we, the board and the executive, have been taking shares for salary for the last 33 months, and ever since we joined Columbus, for half our salary. So by now, the board's interest is completely aligned with the shareholders. We're only focused on generating value through increased share price and increased market cap of the business. So there's no misalignment whatsoever.
Fair point, Leo. So what was the background to the deal? Why did you feel it was necessary?
The standing still and going slow is not an option in my book. I think
it's not your style, Leo, but would it have been a viable option?
I believe the moment you stand still, you lose value. So if we would have waited it all out, see how COVID-19 would have settled down, then by the time the world economy has restored, we could have been a year waiting for a year, and that's horrible. You can see then the slide, the share price slide, and everything stands still, and there is no excitement in the stock anymore. And wow, have we created excitement among the shareholders?
You've certainly created excitement. Okay. On a more practical basis, let's take a deep breath and say, on a practical level, what should the shareholders do next? What should the CERP shareholders in particular do next?
Obviously, what I'd like them to do is to support me and the board in recommending this deal, and then getting over the line and making sure it happens the middle of August. So that's step number one. But more importantly, I'd like them to have a look at the information and data around and convince themselves of the opportunities within Bahamas, within us, and think of ways of where they can see this business go. Because now it's a full cycle E&P company. with massive exploration upside and opportunity. So I keep saying it. I think this is the right thing to do for Columbus. And I'll be doing everything in my power to make sure that the Columbus shareholders and the Bahamas shareholders get maximum value from the investment.
Leo Koot, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your summary of the rationale behind the takeover. Don't forget to subscribe to the London South East YouTube channel if you are interested in interviews like this. And my final thought, thank you so much for watching this interview and stay safe.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Leo.